Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me. The connection is like weird right now. So let me know before we start. It says it's recording, so I'm going to assume that it is. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Cortito time. Okay. Hopefully everything is working. I'm gonna pay attention, make sure it is. But if this is your first time, sometimes I get in the kitchen. At least lately, it's been a lot of fun. I've done things like I made kimchi. We did kimchi. We did a cacao ceremony here in the kitchen, and today we are doing curtido. So I have over here my kimchi refrigerator, not my kimchi, my fermentation refrigerator that is ready to go. We are going to be doing a lacto fermentation version. I don't know what's going on. So hopefully the connection's okay. Hopefully we're just having a few problems, but nothing that lasts forever. All right. Okay, so I've got cabbage. I have carrots. I have I think this is a medium-sized onion, so hopefully it's okay. I have a jalapeno. I have a red jalapeno. Then, of course, we're gonna have some chili flakes. Habanero flakes, yes, yes. I'm excited about that. And then I have this oregano. I want you guys to know that everything here today that I got is under $7. And so that means what I'm going to yield from this is going to cost under $7. Keep that in mind when you go to a store, when you go to a restaurant, or when you go to the grocery store and see what those prices are for these little containers, and you're going to see what we're going to yield. Let me show you my jar. So it looks like we're in a good spot right now. Good, good, good. Okay, so this is my jar that I'm going to be using. I just cleaned this out from my last kimchi batch. And if you're wondering what that last kimchi batch looks like, don't mind showing you. Give me a moment. This is all that's left from the last kimchi batch. So this is my kimchi that I had, and this was this jar full and this jar full. So this is all that's left. I actually had some this morning with my grits, and it was delicious. So there we go. I made some really, really good grits. I think I actually have them over there. I'll show you them. Yeah. Here's the rest of them. I'm about to put them in the refrigerator. Good thing I reminded myself. So I have these grits, and this is like the special recipe. This is the one where you put the cream in it. Woo! And you mix it with the kimchi. Delicious. All right. Now, I think I want to get, see, I was thinking about getting a little festive because I do have some silk eggnog. And I bought this because I didn't have the kind that I actually like. And you want to know what I had to do yesterday? I had to take my silk eggnog, and then I had to put in some cream to make it taste good, and a little bit of salt and some extra nutmeg. And then I had a really tasty eggnog, which actually defeats the purpose of it being dairy free. This is why I'm not a vegan. It just will never happen. I go and then take the vegan thing and then put cream in anyway. Mm. It was delicious, and I'm gonna do it again today too. I mean, it just wasn't delicious enough for me, and eggnog's my favorite food, or one of them around this time of year. All right, so let's get this started. So I have already I've started cutting down these cabbage. This is all cabbage that I have left to chop today. So I'm gonna start working on the chopping of the cabbage, and then from there we're just gonna talk. We're gonna have a good time. So right now we're doing cabbage. Let me see if I'm able to even adjust it a little bit so you can see the cabbage. So here's our cabbage, and then look, here's all the stuff. So we got the cabbage here, we got our jar, I got my shredder for my carrots. Ooh, let's talk carrots for a second. You see this this little carrot here, right? It's disappointing. You're like, what is this? Well, that's how I felt about these carrots. I went into my regular Sprouts and saw these carrots, and I was like, what is this? And then I said, you know what? I need something more. I need something more. And so then I went into the Asian grocery store, And this is what I got. This one, because the Asian store, they knew what I wanted. They knew what I needed. And this is what it was. Um, just so you know, everyone, that is the smallest one I found. This is the smallest one I found. Anyway, we're gonna shred this carrot up to go to go with the rest of the dish. So let me just start chopping and talking to you all. Had to tell you about the carrots. Had to tell you. The first time I saw big carrots like that, where it really was in Korea. I was like, why are these carrots so big? And you just had to get one carrot. You had enough carrot for the week. But this really was, this was the smallest one. I was like, because they're big, just so you all know. So my first time, I saw it in Korea. And it ain't been the same since. So I was happy to go to the Asian store. Also at the Asian store, they didn't have the chili pepper that I wanted because I wanted to actually get a serrano chili to throw into this mix for the heat. But they did have the red one. And this is funny because last fermentation with the kimchi, this is what I wanted. I wanted the red chilies to put into my kimchi, but they didn't have it. So now I have it. The kimchi is delicious, so this is going to be delicious as well. So this time we're gonna do probably one green, and I think I'm gonna do this green, and then I think I'm gonna do just all three of these. If you're wondering if I like heat, I do. The other thing that I'm also adding to kick up the heat, because I really want it to be a spicy dish, because that's what I like, and I find that in the fermentation process, heat doesn't survive like other things that I've put very strong peppers in different dishes, like my sauerkraut. Like my sauerkraut is a spicy sauerkraut, but it doesn't like burn your mouth. It doesn't like overwhelm you. So heat really doesn't seem to survive. You really have to put a lot in, which makes sense when you think about how much red chili they put in kimchi, your traditional like red style. So this is habanero flakes. So I have used this in almost all of my fermentations. I didn't do it in the kimchi one. And then I just have red pepper flakes. So we're gonna put both of those in along with those 3 peppers. So I'm excited about that. So let me just get to chopping. I think I've told you all the ingredients, and now we just gotta talk and have a good time. So happy Sunday to everyone. And I'll check in with you all as we go. Actually, what I'm gonna do here, so my eyes are gonna go down here a little bit because what I'm gonna do is bring up the video, the live video right now on this thing so I can see your comments easier, because I won't be able to see your comments if I'm not able to see it that way. So let me do a quick little fixaroo, and so I can see your comments as you guys do comment, because we have some stuff to talk about. First thing I want to talk about, first thing on the docket, and that is let's talk about AI, everyone. So welcome to the channel. We are doing Curtido today, but we're also going to talk about AI because everyone's doing it. So Limpa is one of the what's it called? What is it called, you all? Limpa is one of the apps where you can actually go to see AI. And then on Limpa, you have, let's see what else. Yeah, Limpa is one of the apps where you can see AI, and then where you can create these like images, magical images of yourself. And then you also have, what else? I'm forgetting the other ones. So there's another one, Midjourney. And I just want to talk about it, what I think about AI and all of that. So let's get it going. And right now there we go, perfect. All right, I can see, I'm on the screen now. So when you guys put your comments, I'll be able to see them. And I could see myself behind time telling you that just now. All right, let's focus here. All right, so AI as we make Curtido. One thing interesting is this. One, it's fascinating. This is one of the first times people are able to see themselves in such a magical way. Like this goes beyond filters. This goes beyond like the cute little filters where you are literally like seeing yourself like a portrait. And so for someone like me who's been in the self-portraiture game for decades, and I can literally say decades because the first person I've ever tried to draw was really myself. And it created a journey, if you will. It created a journey of self-portraiture that has stuck with me um, until now. And you all know that because if you watch my channel and you look at my thumbnails, you know that I don't just make eye-catching thumbnails. I'm usually transforming myself in some form of portraiture. And yes, it's done digitally, but these sometimes can take hours and a lot of work goes into it. And so it's one of these things where you also know that I'm a trained artist. And so one of the first things that people want to pull you away from is self-portraiture because you're supposed to be making art for the people, not just for yourself. And you know how some people, artists, will say, oh, I just make it for me. Like, no, I make my art for me because I really have not included anybody else in the process. Making something that is more universal, but people can connect to, that pleases you, is different. So like, I know what it's like to make more universal work that pleases me and still feel like I'm making it for me, but it's different when you are literally making it for yourself. So there's a few good things about that. It is a study of yourself. It is you trying to get to know yourself in a different kind of way. And that's what I've always done with self-portraiture, right? It's always been about me getting to know myself in a different kind of way. Now, let's throw something out there for a second. This is a medium cabbage. So if you're curious about the size of my cabbage, it's a medium cabbage. And I'll redo the ingredients at some point. All right, so, and I'm almost done cutting it. So it's a natural thing to do, but what's weird about this AI thing is that it takes away the journey of creating. So if you all have been following along, or you actually have gone to, I forget what it's called now, Limca, then you either have enjoyed the journey or you have felt the change of the journey, right? But it takes to me the joy of creating away. It really does. You get the instant gratification of it, and you don't have the connection with the artist. It's AI. Even though these images that you are being transposed into are created by actual artists. This is all taking from what's already been created and then being able to create a program that can duplicate that in different ways. And so that's why the hand thing is a weird thing. They can't seem to do hands, but so much they're able to do. The first introduction I had to AI in regards to art was one of my, I would say, family friends. He essentially let me hear a song by Amy Winehouse. And as I'm listening to it, I'm like, I never heard this song before. I said, it must have been when she wasn't on drugs anymore. At least that's what I thought. What I realized is, one, it was not a song she's ever made. What the AI technology was able to do was create an original song with her voice, with her vocal styling. And so it was weird because I knew something wasn't right with it, but I didn't know. And he didn't tell me that I was listening to an AI version of Amy Winehouse. So it was just, and you can find it on YouTube, by the way. Like, look up AI Amy Winehouse, and you should be able to hear it as well. But what was missing in that was just, the drugs, the pain, the deeper connection to the work. And so this is what people now en masse are doing with art. They are missing the deeper connection with art en masse through portraiture. I don't know. But here's a good thing about it. I think it's always amazing to see yourself in a different way. I, of course, have always enjoyed the process of doing it myself because that transformative process is fascinating. It is, it feels magical. So who here has already transformed themselves using the AI technology, and what do you all think about it if you've done it? Who has done it? It is like what everyone is doing right now, and that's the other thing. Everyone's doing it on cue. And so it tells you how much humanity has like starved for a way to see themselves differently, that we have deeply been wanting to be aliens, and we've deeply been wanting to be what we've seen on Star Trek. We wanted to be these characters like badly. So it also kind of really speaks to like the state of the world today and how we feel. So 3D printings and things like that, no. So Cypher, I think you need to make a trip to Facebook or Instagram. I think you haven't been there for a while. Take a trip, and don't worry. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see all your friends posting these images of themselves. And I know Cypher's not always on social media. So when you make your trip, when you do it this week, you'll see it. I promise. You will absolutely see it, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So I just don't think you made your trip yet. I could tell. I know Cypher's social media habits, everyone. Real too. I don't know. Real said he's gonna be here today. Real too. I know his social media habits. He is like a once a week kind of guy, and then you always know. How do I know this? Because I literally know based off of how people will like, and support anything I post, and so they are like that. So it's kind of funny. So Cypher just hasn't seen it yet. You'll see it, and you're gonna put it all together what I'm saying. But literally, people are able right now to go on a certain app, like different apps, and make a quick image of themselves that looks magical. It looks absolutely magical. So, all right, but I've been making myself magical for a long time. But it made me think a lot about, well, gosh, you've been doing it for a long time, and your excuse is that you're an artist. But this is a craving that everyone's had. This has been a craving, but they just haven't been able to do it. And so it made me think to myself, well, why do you do it? I'm like, it's because it's a form of therapy. To be able to see myself differently, to take some time to imagine myself, whether I've made myself into very attractive men, gurus, goddesses, superheroes, witches, mysterious women, all kinds of different visions that I've had of myself. And I've done it and there's so many that I didn't. If you go on Facebook, you'll see I added it was like 40 of them, or almost 50 images, because I have years of making these. And so I was like, I was going to do a few, but I was like, well, there's so many here. Just show them all. Who cares? So I was just looking at them like, but I was just clicking whatever was interesting to me. So there's so many that I left out. All right, cabbage is done. I have all the cabbage, so here I'm gonna direct you to the cabbage. All right, there is the cabbage. So now I'm going to do this right here. All right, let's go. Cabbage done. All right, it is time to shred the carrots. I'm gonna use this one. I need approximately about a cup of carrot energy here. I need to figure that out. All right, then this is a big enough carrot. It's a big enough carrot. It's a big enough carrot to do what I need to do. It really is. There's some ASMR for you, maybe. Who knows? Ooh. So I need about a cup. Ooh. coming along just well. So the carrot is, I'm not a big fan of carrot, but a fermented carrot, a raw fermented carrot situation, very excited about it. And I'm thinking this will yield about how much I need. It smells so good. Okay, all right. I gotta take a little bit of a break. Let's see, how much do I have? I have about half a cup. So yeah, this carrot's gonna do its job for me. All right, let's keep on shredding. But anyway, we need, you know what? So funny. Lala was like, we need a moment, we need an icebreaker today. So the icebreaker really is, I want to know, has anyone actually made those images of themselves, and how do you feel? And have you ever, I want to know, have you ever done something similar to what I've done as far as making these kinds of images of yourself, these magical images of yourself? Have you ever done it, and how have you felt, from it? I can tell you, for me, whenever I make those images, it is a good feeling. It's one of those things of like, I just feel more multi-dimensional. I feel more than just mundane. It's a creative expression, so that's always important. But there's also just this magical feeling that I do associate with seeing myself differently. Now, I won't lie, my favorite ones that I ever do are the ones where I make myself into a dude. No one likes those except me, but I love them. They're my favorite. I think it's because it's easy to see yourself as for me, it's easy to see yourself as a goddess, or like this mystical, beautiful fairy, or some kind of like pretty whatever. It's easy to see yourself as that, but to see yourself as a dude, for me, it's just a lot more fascinating. I definitely wanted to be going through puberty. I wanted to be a dude. Absolutely. Not enough to have gender dysphoria, but enough to think it's a good thing, to think that sounds like fun, So does anyone here feel like AI has a possibility to manipulate the minds of people or causing havoc of any kind? So now, there was a hush-hush thing that happened with Google, where one of the programmers, he felt that the AI technology that he created was sentient, so that it had feelings. And so if something has feelings, there's a few things that can result from that. Jealousy, end of the world, all the things that people start to fear. So there was that thing that happened as far as Google goes. And that is something to think about. I think that there is something, I really feel this way, that there is something missing in the psychological or brain mapping and doing what people are doing with these images. I can't quite explain it, but you are not a part of some very crucial parts of the transformation. So like when I'm transforming my image, I know what that image looks like from the beginning, right? Because I'm the one that's in control of it. I'm in control of all the little tweaks, all the little changes that I make. And that's important because it's not like I just click something and then bam, it's just completely different and unrecognizable. I know those changes, and that's really important to me mentally when you're creating, that you're able to track your changes and what's being done. When you're not able to see all of that, there's more of a disconnect that you're making to this process. And there's something about that then you are more accepting of these changes without you really having a say in it. And that's the part that's a little weird. Now, of course, with Midjourney, which is a app that you can use, you can definitely you could put in details and all these different things and prompts to create a more curated image that you're trying to create. And so I had played around on it just to see, and I didn't use the more popular one, Limsa or Midjourney. I was just seeing like just random AI, just wanted to know. And yeah, you can create these different prompts and to create these images that you want to see, which is really cool. But when you create something from beginning to end, that's an entirely different process. And I think that I have a hard time that people are being robbed of that experience, and they don't realize they're being robbed of it. But when you understand art appreciation and you study art history and you've tried to take an art class, especially at like a higher level, when you go through that process and you feel that process, I just think it's a lot more powerful. And I think that there is a disconnect in your brain when you don't go through that process. It's just like when someone looks at artwork and they don't understand why that piece of artwork might be worth a certain amount or why it's valuable, or they look at a Jackson Pollock and be like, this is just scribbling, or look at like a Mark Rothko and be like, what the hell is this? This is just like maroon on a canvas. But not understanding that it took a whole lot to get to being able to drip paint. And there was a mental process that was in that. And you understand that mental process from actually creating artwork, studying the creation of artwork. So what AI technology does is disconnects people from that. And I know that some people would be like, well, I don't really care if I'm disconnected from it. And I get that. But I don't know. I care because it really does seem like a real disconnect there. Okay, so guess what? Carrot has been graded. And that part's done. So, all right, I'll show you it, but. All right, carrot's been graded. That part is done. Woo! Show you. All right, we got carrot. That's about as much as I want. Okay, next part in this scenario is without feeling, how is it art? And that really does start to ask the question exactly. The feeling is missing, and that is what I was saying when I first heard the Amy Winehouse version as well. The feeling of just her voice, you know what I mean? Her pain, because we know she had a lot of pain. The drugs, because the drugs was important, and so I'm not saying it was important to her talent, but it was important. They were. So much of her music you could tell had some strong, heavy drug influences, and that has a lot to do with the pain that she was feeling. And that's what so many people resonated with. I was not a fan of Amy Winehouse at all because of how much pain was in her music. So it's just interesting that, AI could almost take out a lot of that pain. But for someone who does connect to music like that, you're missing that. And that's so important. I don't like to feel a lot of pain when I listen to music, but I get it. All right, chopping up the jalapeno right now. We're just going to be doing nice little, just slices of it. And just actually, as I'm getting down to the bigger part of it, I'm going to do some quarters. So we'll do some slices of jalapeno. Oh, and it smells good. I love jalapeno. Smell of it. I love me some fresh pepper. Serrano chilies are some of my favorites. The jalapeno I love as well. You can smell the fruitiness and fragrance of it. Very nice. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision yet. Gosh, we have everything else, right? Smell-o-vision has not arrived, but it's going to get there. I just saw it in my mind. I'm like, it'd be so easy. It'd be like some kind of coating, and your device will have this like air filter that based off of that coating, you'll have a feeling of what you smell. Now, the interesting part is, what if people start using smell-o-vision to share the smell of their farts? That could be good for medical purposes, but, ooh, geez Louise. If you could do smell-o-vision and you're like, doctor, I think I have something, can you smell this? The doctor could probably smell the situation. So, wow. Smell-o-vision is the future, everyone. We just claimed it. All right. So, so what else do people think about Cypher's question, which I found really interesting? Is Do we think that, yeah, AI, I think that this whole AI thing, yeah, without feeling, something isn't quite right. And honestly, I've been noticing it in work environments. I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of like Six Sigma, or there's different, like Six Sigma a little bit, but there's different work styles that have been created that were based off of the assembly line, right? And factory work. And they're trying to actually bring it into offices. So they're literally trying to find ways to take away the human nuance of how we work and how we've been working to become more efficient. And then all that efficiency, where some of you guys might have done this, where there's time studies, there's all kinds of stuff that's being done to try to track how you're working and how effective and how fast you're moving. And to me, it's very within the times of AI. Because if you can document all that, quantify it, put a chart to it in a chart and graph, then now you can put programs to it. And of course, eventually, you can train AI to do the job. And my thing is that once we get to that point where so much of this work is unfeeling, not connected to humanity, jobs that you never thought could be outsourced like that. Because right now we're doing a few things, right? We outsource to different countries to do work. And now I think the next step will be not outsourcing, but outsourcing still, but to technology. And so then what happens? Does that mean that we all just stop working and we just somehow make money? I don't know. I've been trying to figure out, like, what does it mean when we've outsourced so much of our tasks? Like, what is the future of that? Do we adapt to a life where not a lot of people work? Is that what it is? Like, so now people don't work anymore because we don't have to? Everything is automated? Is that possible? I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I wish I could be in the room put that on my vision board, be in the room with these decision makers so I actually understand what's happening. Be in the room. That's what I'm gonna put on my vision board. Because I mean, right now I could be using a machine to cut all this stuff. These machines are not used to are to be used, not in control. I think one day we'll move beyond money, but that is a conversation for another day, right? If there's no emotion or feeling, it loses that je ne sais quoi that pulls you into it. Exactly. And it's funny that you said je ne sais quoi, because that's what I've been saying. It's been my thing. I love that. It's been my term for like all the little nuances. I'm like, that's je ne sais quoi. Absolutely. I agree. So I am. All right, so I got my jalapenos. I almost feel like it's not enough. I know what you're thinking. You're like, come on, it has to be enough. But I'll show you. I just don't feel like it's enough. All right. So we have, this is what we've cut up so far. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know. I have the chili flakes, so it will be hot. It will be spicy. It's just that, in my experience, I'm gonna not cut up this one. I'm gonna leave this one for a meal of some sort, because I have some mushrooms, and I love mushrooms and pepper of some sort with some eggs. That'll be later. That sounds good. That might be my part 2 with the grits tomorrow for breakfast. Oh, that's a plan. That is a plan. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud now. That's a plan. All right, so it's time to cut up this onion. It says medium onion. I think this is a medium onion. What do you think? What do you think? I think this is a medium onion. So we'll cut that out. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that whole AI thing, since I've been watching it, I'm like, something, I have feelings about it, but it's hard for me to, I have mixed feelings. Like on one end, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that you guys get to see yourself in a magical way, because I've been doing it forever. But then it's like, but you're missing out on the fun of it all. But someone might argue with me and be like, I don't want to do all that. This is good enough for me. And I'm like, well, shoot, then I have to recognize that as well. You know, that, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's hard for me to imagine anyone not wanting to be an artist. I know that sounds weird. I think almost everyone's not an artist because they couldn't afford to be. Or didn't know how to, like, they just didn't have the time to hone it. And I know that's like so ridiculous, but I do feel that way. Sometimes I feel, not all the time, but sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, I just think that, why wouldn't you want to be an artist? It's the only thing I want to do. Whatever I'm doing, I want to be an artist in it. All right, so now I'm going to do the slices of green onion. This raises another interesting question. What is the value of the creation process? If people are not creating in some way, are they missing out? I think so. That's just me. I think so. I think you miss out when you don't create your own stuff. Like right now, like making this Curtido, this is art right now. I am creating this, and this is definitely an artistic venture because I can get this in the store. And I showed everyone the carton that I had of the store-bought Curtido. But the difference is that when you make it, I am putting in what I want, and there's all this nuance that's happening in it. There's a thought process happening in here as well that is very valuable. There is problem solving that's happening. My brain is just being enriched by making Curtido, and there's a sensory experience that's happening. All these wonderful moments, and this is just from being in the kitchen. And then when I actually eat it, and I have to wait for it too, which is so exciting, right? This isn't instant. I have to like put this in the fermentation refrigerator and just set it aside. Like, it's got to do its thing. And that process too of waiting for something great to happen, knowing that it's going to be great too, which is thrilling. All these things are important. Sculpture, which was my focus, takes time. There's so many people who their interest in sculpture wasn't there because it wasn't as quick as drawing something. It takes time to make a sculpture. Just plain and simple. Working with your hands takes time. Being creative and problem solving. So when people don't find a way to use their creativity, doesn't have to be with the fine arts, I think they're missing out. They're missing out on life. I feel that way pretty deeply. They're missing out. Plain and simple. And being creative translates into so many different ways. That's why people can be triple threats and all that kind of stuff, because those skills of problem solving translate into everything. And so it's funny because I will say I'm not that great at photography. And Lala, I was trying to take a picture of the ingredients, and it just didn't look good because I had already told myself I wasn't good at doing something. So then she asked me, well, do you love doing it? And I'm like, no, I don't. So then I decided to say I love doing it, I love doing it, I love doing it. And while I'm saying I love doing this, I love doing this, I created a better image. So I rearranged everything and I created a better image than the one I had before. Now it's still just what it is, but the thing is that that was probably a minute of me saying I love doing something. So if I had taken even more time using that same method, can you imagine? And truthfully, even after I had finished and took the picture, then I started to think about all the different ways I could have enhanced the photography of it. And that was all because I claimed it. I'm like, I love doing this, I love doing this, I love doing this. And so the more love that I put into the creative process, the better that I got at it. So to me, everyone could benefit from engaging in a creative process for everything I just said. So to kind of rob yourself of that process for these quick vanity gratifying moments, just know that, like, enjoy it, absolutely enjoy it, right? But also create something, whether it doesn't have to be fine art, but it could be something. It could be a new dish, baking. We all have our things that we know how to do. It could be writing a interesting piece, handwriting a poem. It could be, I have no clue, all the different things that you guys may be into, knitting, sewing, but that journey is just important for the brain, the mind, to get yourself into the right place. Now, if you guys don't know, vision boards are next week, so stay tuned for that. Vision boards. I even have some of my equipment, so I'm excited. All right, onions are done. Onions are chopped and they are ready. So I guess all my ingredients are here, y'all. Okay, all ingredients are ready to go. So now it's just a matter of putting in my seasonings. So let's bust out the fermentation bucket. I'm not sure if you all remember it, but we'll show it to you. Fermentation bucket is coming your way. So here's my fermentation bucket. This bucket is what I hold everything in, but it's also the bucket that I use to ferment when I'm fermenting. So it's my fermentation bucket. And I'm going to give it a quick little rinse just to make sure it's all clean. I always clean it really well, but it's time to always do a quick little rinse. So fermentation bucket. So now with lacto fermentation, remember a little bit of dirt don't hurt. You really want that bacteria to be present, which is really lactobacillus. I think I said it right. If I didn't, I'm really close. You really want that to be present. So it's not something that you don't want to wash all the good stuff away, just so you know. So a lot of people don't realize that. They kind of, if you're obsessive like that, or if you have if you don't really have OCD, but you say you have OCD, you know who I'm talking about. You all out there, you guys are the ones that will want to let that go if you're fermenting. Okay, so I think it's going to be easier for me to do it over here. So I have my scale, and I'm going to measure this first to tear it off, and then after I tear it, then I'm going to remember that number, and I'm going to tell you all that number, and I'm going to times that by 2% to determine how much salt I'm going to put into this. Okay? So first stop is tearing it. Okay, so what I did, all right, it's all teared. Oh, I did it the wrong way, by the way, everyone. But that's okay. I won't have to tear it because I had it on there already. That works too. If you turn on your scale, but I told myself I was going to remember this time to do it. Girl, you are okay. You are okay. You are a superstar, and I love you anyway. Talk really nice to yourself when you're cooking, okay? A little mistake is not the end of the world. It's just a new problem to solve. All right, so I'm putting my onions in and everything in right now. So these are, I love these cutting boards because of this. I can literally just do this. Okay. Onions in. And now we're going to do this is the cabbage, pepper, and carrot mound. And it's going in. Hey, take a screenshot of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, isn't that a good idea? All right, here we go. Spilled some. Okay. All right. It's all in there. Now, next step is seasonings. So now I'm just going to put in whatever I think is right. So you guys, here come my favorite measuring spoons. And if you know me, I like to use measuring spoons and not really pay attention to how much I actually put in. But I think I remember in the ingredients, she said use a tablespoon. I hope so. I mean, of oregano. I know it's a really important ingredient in the curtido. Like it kind of it changes the game in the way you think about curtido. I mean, about a fermented food because it's a new flavor. It's not just the salt. So you have to, the oregano is important. Now, one of the recipes called for Mexican oregano. And I was like, I couldn't find it. And then I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, I need to find Mexican oregano. And the girl was like, look, girl, they look the same. I was like, all right, cool. So anyway, I did get the organic oregano from the bulk section. So I'm doing about a tablespoon. I'm doing 2 tablespoons. Yeah, 2 tablespoons feels right. Okay, Lala, write that down. 2 tablespoons. I don't know if that was what they told me to do, but doesn't matter. All right, that looks right. I like how that looks. Okay, now I'm gonna do my chili powder. And my chili powder is going to be chili flakes, I'm sorry. So that's a heaping tablespoon. I know that's right. And I don't know if that's enough. Don't know if that's enough. 1 heaping tablespoon of chili powder. And then habanero flakes, we're gonna do a little bit less because I might be burning someone's. All right, habanero. Oh man, I just got got a little high from that. All right, there we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I got my habanero in there. I do feel like it needs just, I mean the heat. I'm telling you the heat gets lost. You may not believe me, but I feel like it gets a little lost. So we're just adding about 2.5 tablespoons of chili pepper flakes. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Woo! All right, all ingredients are in, including oregano. Everything is there. All right, so now it's just a matter of doing some measuring because then we got to get our salt on. And we're going to do a brine on top of that. So I'm going to be mushing in everything. I'm not sure if you guys remember, I did that before too. Ooh, you know, usually I have gloves for this. I forgot my gloves. Yeah. Where are my gloves? I usually have like a, but I guess I do need gloves because I'm messing with some habanero flakes. I'll figure this out. All right, so I gotta look at the number here. Let's see if we can find the number. And you can see there it's all in there, looking good. $11.89. $11.88. All right, $11.88. $11.88. $11.88. $11.88, people. Even though I don't trust it. I'll tell you why I don't trust it. When I lift it up, it should be negative $11.88. I'm like, why isn't it showing negative $11.88? So, but no, that sounds about right. It was 0 when I started. Please remember that. All right, so we got $11.88 times 2 is, that's not 2%. We need 2% of that. So it should be 22. So about 23 grams of salt. Does that sound right to everyone? 2% of that should be 23 grams of, about 23 grams of salt. 2%, tell me if I'm right. I rounded up. Okay, so 23 grams of salt, we're doing well. All right, so now I'm going to tare it. All right, it's been tared, and now I'm going to slowly add 23 grams of salt. Okay, Houston, we've gotten to 23. Actually, it says 24 on there, so I'm going to do a little bit of that. You can do 24 if you want. Well, look at that. I can do 24 if I want, and that's about right. So there we go. We got our 24, and that's right. So now this is really funny. So before we did this, we were looking at the recipe, and I really didn't like the way the recipe was done, because it was like you need about 1.5 tablespoons of salt for what's being put in. And truthfully, that's about as much that we have here. It's about 1.5 tablespoons. So I prefer doing the measuring way using my scale, because I find that it's a lot more accurate. Now this version of Curtido is vegan, and almost every version of Curtido is vegan. So this one doesn't, I mean, I don't feel like I've heard of one Curtido that's not vegan. Now most fermented foods are. Now the difference with kimchi is that they do put fish sauce in there. And I do have to say this because someone did say this on one of my videos for the kimchi, and they were like, you don't have to say it's vegan. So you're not going to see me say out loud that this is vegan, because it typically is. But for kimchi, but for kimchi, it's not traditionally vegan. So that's where you'll start to see me make the distinction. So someone had commented loud and wrongly. I was sad for them, actually. And they were like, you don't need to say that it's vegan. I do, whoever you are. Sir, madam, they, them, them. I do. But for this one, you don't. Curtido really is typically these ingredients. I would say the base is usually cabbage, onion, carrots, and oregano. And then from there, the chili flakes and the spice and the heat is definitely bit by choice, but also by experience, because the Curtido that the first place I ever had Curtido from, which the El Salvadorian people, it was a little spicy. And so it was this really beautiful, spicy situation I was just like, we are living our life, and I'm happy about that. So that's what we had there. So now I have my bucket ready. So what do I do? What do I do with such a grand bucket? I know you're wondering. Hold on. Let me see something. Okay, that's right. That's right. So what do I do with such a grand bucket? By the way, the measurements are right. I feel good about that. I put the salt in. I put the salt in. All right, have a good one. He's got handles on biz. You're right. Have a good one. Put the salt in. I put the salt in. And what I'm going to do with the salt is similar to what I did last time. And that is I'm going to mix it all in and not do a lot of manipulating, because I found that if you mix it pretty well with the salt, you don't have to do that much manipulating. You kind of just let the salt just start to work the ingredients on their own. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just mixing. So let's see if we can do mix-o-vision in here for a second here. So there we go. So I am literally just mixing all this in and just trying to get it right. Putting the salt in. But this is, man, this looks good. Now go online right now. Not right now. I'm about to leave, but after this video, go look at what Curtido looks like and tell me that ain't it. That's it. That's Curtido. Very happy about this. Oh, I got a new. I'm so excited. Oh, and it smells so good. That oregano is nice and strong. And that's what I wanted, because that really is a distinctive part of your Curtido. And I can smell the heat. I smell the joy. I smell the work. The onions are breaking up nice. Oh man, this is gonna be a delight. This is pretty much like a raw slaw, but it's gonna be something that I'll be able to have with my heavier foods. If I have like a heavy dish and I want to cut it up a little bit, I'm gonna Curtido it. So thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the process. And let's do a moment of skepticism here. And all along the same line, will AI take over cooking? So, will AI take over food, our food processes? I wonder about that. I wonder if it would be like the last vestige for technology, because a lot of us, some people don't want to cook or make things anymore. They don't enjoy being in the kitchen and having this experience and the thinking process, you know, because we're so caught up in other stuff. Will AI take over cooking and that process and food preparation? And if you think about everything that went in to make this today, and the joy, the learning, the self-love that I had to go through, I thought I made a mistake, and I had to really talk myself in a positive way. And it gave me an opportunity to extend my self-love and grow and be better. And will AI take over or take away that process? I know someone where you can tell when they're really stressed out or life can be a little tough. They get in that kitchen and it's a very therapeutic process. So is that where we're headed? All I can hope is that we, especially people who are artists, who create, who understand the value of it, and knowing that it's more than just providing a service or making the world beautiful, that it is work that nourishes your brain. It allows you to be more present in the world. I hope that we really emphasize the importance and the connection that we have when we create, and maybe that will help AI learn. No, no, maybe it'll help more people fight to not lose these traditions and not lose this, because I imagine something like making this Curtido, and you probably make it in a big batch like this. This is probably something that families do together, you know, because it would have been nice if I had another hand to chop up all this stuff and we talk and we laugh and all that, kind of like how I'm doing with you all right now. Can you imagine if that was a big group of people and we were all just making Curtido, and we would enjoy this for days to come as a group, and we spoke all this joy and life over the food? AI can't do that. So, you know, seeing my world of self-portraiture be attacked, be it through AI, um, I do feel some kind of way. I'm like, damn it, I love this. But hopefully people will fight really hard to create and be in charge of creating and be in charge of putting their hands in the soil and touching their food and smelling their food and enjoying it. And that we will fight for those things because BG says there will always be a place for the authentic. And I hope it's a big place. And I think that's what I'm saying. I hope that we can, and I think that in the areas that AI can help people, it does, but we don't lose this connection that we have with each other, because that's what it is. When you create art, you share it with people, and it's a beautiful thing. So not everybody wants to try my kimchi because they think it smells, but when they actually do try it, they're like, wow, this is a phenomenal dish. It is. So, all right. Join me next time for being in the kitchen. And I do want you all to know that next week, we're doing vision boards. So we're going to be doing some more creative work together. So get your stuff together. I can show you right now. I even have my vision board clip art. This just came in the mail today. So I'm going to be using some of this and of course my own images. And let's, and I think BG saying that authentic will fetch a higher price. I want this to be accessible to all people. This is one of the best things that we do for each other. We can't make sharing our creativity with each other so expensive. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. It's so it's so complex. So complex. Join the Patreon to get access to more fun to come in 2023. Absolutely, we are ramping up even more. You wouldn't believe it. But yeah, we have visions. We have visions that we are trying to bring forward. And the vision board is going to be created to help also keep the eye on the prize. All right. Hallelujah, Hala Magic, Io and Vunya. And I hope you guys try to make some curtido at home. And if you have children, this could be a nice family project. So it'd be a great opportunity for them, maybe older kids too, because since we're dealing with a lot of knives, to work with this kind of material. All right, but look at this. It's already creating its own juice, and I didn't even have to do any manipulating. I will see you all, and I will see you all next video. Thank you for being here. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and of course, share this with people. Be like, hey, I really like her. She's just a cool person. I just want to hang out with her. And then they get to the end of the video, they'll be like, oh, that's how I got here. Yeah. All right, bye everyone.